How's it going, everyone? My name is DrapPep. Welcome back to another installment of this series. So, I've been talking a bit about how I was diagnosed with autism at a very young age. And the way that my mom explained to me that I had autism was in the most confusing way possible. I know I've mentioned this a few times in other videos, but I just want to point out that it was really confusing for me. You see, she told me that in the center of my brain, I had to imagine that there was a queen bee and that there was other kingdoms that needed to get a message to the queen bee. So they would send messengers out to, tell her what needed to be done. But you see, those messengers would get lost somewhere in my head. So they had to send multiple messengers to make sure that the message was received by the queen bee. Now, as a child, I was confused as to why there was bees in my head. As an adult, I understand it now, you know. She was trying to explain to me that I sometimes have a hard time understanding what's being told to me and that it needs to be told multiple times for it to truly sink in. I get it now. Back then, I didn't understand what she was trying to tell me. And my mom's understanding of autism has greatly improved since then. I was very blessed to have a mom that was willing to put the time and energy into learning about autism. I mean, she went down to the library and she really, put energy into actually learning about autism so that she would understand how to better raise a child with autism. The day, because I was going to regular classes, so the day that I went to special education was a bit of a shell shock for me. I was not I was not ready for that. I mean, the teachers did not have a handle on any of the students. There was one kid, I kid you not, eating the glue, the Elmer's glue, just uncorking the top and drinking it. And then there was another kid who was just like stabbing other people with a pencil, like hard enough to make them bleed. And like there was other people who were like throwing paper balls at each other and just making a real mess. And I looked at my mom and I was like, "Oh, I do not belong here." But it was out of my mom's hands. You see, the school was just, gathering us all together, making sure we were all together. And I hated that. I hated that we were just kind of clumped together like that. To this day, I hate it that that's how it was handled. I felt like I was a bit more well together than what I was given credit for. I mean, yeah, I was falling behind, but I don't know, maybe tell the teacher to slow down a bit. But no, I guess because the teacher is comfortable at a certain speed, they want the rest of the students to be at that speed. So I went to this class. It was easier, sure, but I felt like there were different levels of students that were much worse than I was, and there were some that were better off than I was, and then those students also were kind of in the same boat with me. They were confused why they were there also. Now, something I find most interesting is the term special needs. I wanted to do my own research on this because I wasn't sure if that was politically correct anymore. And as it turns out, it's absolutely not politically correct, which is why I've been trying to refrain from referring to my other classmates as special needs, which I see so many people carelessly throwing around. I have a few sources. There is the National Education Association, NEA.org, that has it as disability advocates dislike the use of special needs because of its sorry if I'm having a hard time reading here, paternalistic nature, and instead encourage the use of the word disabled. Which, damn, didn't know. I didn't read that part. That's okay. And then you have parents.com. Despite being well intentioned using the term special needs can be actually being disrespectful. And then you have the ADA National Network, or also known as adata.org, that says do not use considering euphemisms. Terms like differently abled, challenge, handicapable, or special are often considered. Sorry, I'm a bit dyslexic, and by a bit I mean I am. I can read these just fine, but like the way I try to explain to people how my dyslexia works is I can see it in my head, but the moment I try to send that to my tongue is just like, nope, never heard that word. We're going to make up a new one. We're going to make up a brand new word that doesn't exist. That's how we're going to do that. Isn't that fun? Same thing with like when I'm spelling it. Normally, like I would be able to spell certain words, and then I would spell it out, and then it would just look like gibberish. And like, that's not how you spell those words. I'm like, oh, I didn't realize I spelt it like that. Learning to read was also pretty hard because like I would see certain words differently. Like my B's and D's, I got those mixed up all of the time. My D's looked exactly like B's. It took me some training to like figure out how to reconfigure that in my head. That was quite the challenge. All of that to explain, so I can apologize if I mess up reading. Don't make fun of me, okay? I have complications, okay? So here's the reason why I bring up my fascination with the word special needs, because obviously there's a few sources here that says that you shouldn't use that term because it is disrespectful and it's not fair to use it on somebody. But then I was wondering, what does special education do then? Do the schools still consider people with autism special needs? And I looked into it, and yes, schools still consider people with autism as special needs. But as I had already stated, as of 2022, it has already been considered as a not a disrespectful thing to say. But then I look at some of these sources, like Blue ABBA. This article was in 2025. In educational settings, autism is generally considered a special needs because it affects learning, communication, and social development. Bro. And then you have research.chop.edu. Medical diagnosis of autism spectrum disorder does not automatically entitle a student as special education services under the individuals. And then you have special needs answers, which, Jesus, like, okay. This article was posted in 2025. The short answer is yes, autism spectrum disorder may be legally and medically recognized as a disability. This article explores what is more. So here's the thing. Oh, one more. Disability Rights California. Also, it's like disabilityrightsca.org. In order to qualify for special education under the category, your children does not need to meet the medical definition of autism, just the educational. So there's a few here that's not necessarily directly. Oh, here's one. I just found this one just now. Golden stepsaba.com. Yes, autism is generally considered to be a special needs. Autism is a neurodivergent disorder. And these articles are written fairly recently. And the articles that point out that considering someone's special needs as being not okay, disrespectful, were written before that. So this isn't like they were addressing it as, okay, this is what it is, and then these articles came after. No. These articles came before about it being disrespectful, and then the school system is just like, who cares? We're just going to keep calling them that. Are you serious? Are you actually serious? You can't keep getting away with that. You can't. I feel that the the idea of what people are used to doing is hard to kind of change because it was that way for so long that now that people who have autism, who are on the spectrum, who are trying to fit into society in a way that matters, they have a hard time because there are already stigmatisms built against them and so many terms and derogatory terms even who they're already in place, and it's already embedded in society so deeply that in order for them to change, it needs to be addressed. And the problem is that talking about these sort of things is taboo. And I've talked about this a lot with people, and I guess talking about people with disabilities and people with uh, neurodivergent disabilities, or even just, you know, autism or anything, it just makes people uncomfortable to where they don't want to address it. And I think as a society, if we want to become better, we need to be able to openly discuss some of these things so that we can truly understand one another. That's going to be it for this episode. Thank you for listening.